There's a special piece of hardware that I use every single day, multiple times a day, and it's actually one of my most valuable tools. It's not my PC, it's not my keyboard, it's not my mouse, it's not my chair, it's actually this guy right here, the Stream Deck. Now, so many people use Stream Decks for so many different purposes, but I want to show you how I use the Stream Deck to control my virtual characters and my virtual studio. But first, let's hop into the suit. So all of my virtual characters and my entire virtual setup is all running in a game engine called Unity. And I control everything with code, and then I trigger snippets of code with buttons. Much like you would control a character in a game by making him run around with WASD. Same exact principle. So before I ever had a Stream Deck, I actually used the buttons on my keyboard to trigger those code snippets. So like if I wanted to make confetti fall from the ceiling, then I would press F5. Or if I wanted to make Pixelfire start dancing, then I would press F8. Or if I wanted to change Pixelfire's clothing, then I would hold down Control and press mouse wheel up or mouse wheel down. And that worked okay for a bit, but once my setup became more complex, I quickly started to run out of keys on my keyboard because there's only so many number keys and F keys that I can use. And it also made it difficult to remember what keys I had assigned to what trigger, because there's no visual reference on the keyboard buttons for what they actually do. And then comes along Stream Deck to solve all those problems and make life so much easier in two very specific ways. First, with a Stream Deck, you have unlimited keys. So no matter what Stream Deck you use, whether it is a Stream Deck Mini, a Mark II, an XL, or a Plus, you're actually not limited by the number of physical buttons on the device. So this XL, for instance, has 4x8, so 32 physical keys, but you can actually have entirely new pages or folders of keys. So this right here is kind of my home page of buttons, but then I can press a folder and go into an entirely new page of buttons. And then I can press another folder button within that folder and go into another page of buttons. And the second problem that Stream Deck solves is that every single button is essentially a mini screen. So you can display text, images, and GIFs on these buttons so that you have a perfect visual reference for what that button does. So let me actually show you a perfect example of all of this by showing you how I control my Lego setup. So when I first open up Pixelfire, what it starts as is the original Pixelfire, but I want to switch over to the Lego one. So let me navigate on my Stream Deck over to the Lego page, and you'll see I have this Lego button here. So I press that, and it switches me over to the Lego setup. And essentially what that button is telling Unity to do is to disable the original Pixelfire model and to enable the Lego Pixelfire model. And very similarly, you'll see I have these 4 buttons that allow me to switch between the 4 different Lego characters that I've created. So I can switch between Lego Pixelfire, Lego Yoda, Lego Darth Vader, and Lego Emmett from the Lego movies. And what these buttons are doing is they're sending a message to Unity telling it to switch out certain body parts or textures to set these characters up in the way that I designed them. So when I switch from Pixelfire to Yoda, it's switching out the skin texture from Pixelfire to Yoda, and it's switching out the Lego head model for the Yoda head model. And when I switch from Yoda to Darth Vader, it is disabling the Yoda head model and re-enabling the Lego head, and then also enabling the Darth Vader helmet model. Likewise, when I switch over to Emmett, it will disable all of that and then enable Emmett's hair model, and then switch out the body texture with Emmett's texture. You'll see down here I also have some lightsaber buttons. So this button here is the lightsaber active button, and it will turn the lightsaber hilt model that I have on and off. And then this ignite button will actually ignite the lightsaber blade. And the ignite button is telling Unity to play an animation that I created that animates the blade out and in. So what I'll do on stream sometimes is, instead of just turning the lightsaber on and off out of thin air, I'll reach down and then press the Stream Deck button to activate it, turn the model on, and then I'll pull it up as if I'm pulling it up out from under the desk. And then I'll ignite the lightsaber, and then there you go, I've got a lightsaber. And then down here you'll see I can also switch the color from blue to green to red and to purple. And those buttons are telling Unity to switch out the color of the blade and switch out the color of the light that is inside the blade. You'll also see I have 2 other buttons down here in the corner, Calibrate and Move Mic. So the Calibrate button actually talks to my motion capture software and tells it to recalibrate all the sensors on my suit. So if I press that, I'll go into the calibration pose, It'll wait a few seconds and then it will recalibrate all the sensors on my suit. And the reason for that is that sometimes with motion capture, specifically inertial motion capture, which is what this Rococo suit is that sometimes the virtual positions of the sensors will drift away from the actual positions of the sensors. So occasionally you may have to recalibrate to set everything back to 0. So I have that button there so that I can recalibrate anytime I want. The Move Mic button actually controls my virtual mic in a pretty cool way. So you'll see that I have the Elgato Wave 3 mic in my virtual setup. So if I want to move it around, obviously I can't interact with it. So what I do is I press this Move Mic button, and what that does is it parents the mic to my hand bone, so that I can move it around wherever I want, and then when I have it at a position that I like, I can press the Move Mic button again, and then it will unparent the mic from my hand bone. So since every button is a mini screen, I was able to create all of my own custom images to place on these buttons so that I know exactly what each button does. And for these 2 lightsaber buttons, I took it a step further and made GIF animations so that it's even more clear what these buttons do. And that is just a few of the many ways that I use Stream Decks to control my virtual setup. Like I said at the beginning, there are so many ways that people use Stream Decks, and I want to hear how you would use the Stream Deck. So I'm actually going to do a giveaway of a Stream Deck XL. To enter, just leave a comment below and let me know how you would use the Stream Deck XL. And then on January 5th, I'll pick the winner. But it won't be a random winner. I'm actually gonna read through all the comments and pick one that stands out as a really cool, creative way to use the Stream Deck. What would you use it for? Comment below. Or if you can't wait and you wanna grab a Stream Deck now, I've got some links in the description below. Otherwise, I look forward to reading your comments over the course of the next week. And again, I'll be picking that winner on January 5th. Until then, Happy New Year.